Another Brick fan here with a review of all 6 BrickHeadz based on the Justice League movie. Let's get into the review. The collection consists of The Flash, Wonder Woman, Tactical Batman, Superman, Aquaman, and Cyborg. The BrickHeadz were released in 2 waves, with Flash, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Cyborg being released in 2018. Batman and Superman were released together in a single set in May of 2018. Let's take a look at each BrickHead individually. I like the choice of dark red for the Flash. It is appropriate for the character and a relatively rare color to get. The uniform is represented by 2 printed pieces, a 2x2 brick and a 1x4 tile. There is also some good detailing done with gold and black plates which make up stripes that go from the front to the back of the figure. The top of the Flash's uniform is a hood that is attached to the back of the uniform, and I think it's very well represented here with the slopes and plates. Moving to the side, I like how they represented the traditional lightning bolts with pearl gold pieces. The single stud coupled with the tile makes the effect really work. The gold and black plates can be seen running along the side representing the belt and the decoration of the costume, along with the brown pieces used for his hands, which represent him wearing gloves. Interestingly, there's a lot of detail on the back of the figure, which is unusual for most BrickHeadz. The detailing consists of some grill pieces used to represent the ridges on the back of the hood as seen in the movie. I like the use of the alternating dark red and black cheese wedge pieces to provide a slope for the back of the hood. This is a very different look for the Flash, but a good representation of the costume used in the movie. The right side is pretty much the same as the left side, so let's go ahead and move around back to the front. Overall, this is a good representation of the Flash from the Justice League movie. I like the choice of the dark red color scheme. This coupled with some gold and black pieces are a good representation of the highlights of the uniform. The lightning bolts over the ears and the back of the helmet are particularly well done. This BrickHeadz simply looks great. There's so many great details in this figure, starting with the printed pieces and the wonderful hair build. Speaking of the printed pieces, let's start with the printed pearl gold 1x2 tile for her belt buckle, which is a really nice touch. This is topped by a 1x4 brick that makes up the torso of her costume. Her tiara is represented by a 2x4 tile piece that is used on her forehead. Besides all the great prints, the build for her hair is really detailed. There is so much texture in the hair and it really fits the figure well. Moving to the side, you can see more of the texturing of her hair with slopes, cheese wedges, and tiles. I also like the use of the 1x2 tile to represent her bracelet. The use of the minifig sword is a bit small but still works and is an appropriate accessory. I would have liked them to use a 1x2 plate with a clip on the short end or the front as opposed to the long end or the bottom in this case. It would have allowed her to hold the sword or the shield, which you'll see in a moment, in the front like they did with the Captain America BrickHead. The great hair build continues around the back of the figure, along with some good use of different colored plates to represent her skirt. The red, gold, and blue is used very effectively here. Some movement is represented by clever use of plates, which offsets the lines, making it look a bit more organic and a bit less blocky, if you can say less blocky on a Lego BrickHead. On the other side, she is holding a shield that also has a great print. I like how they use the gold against the gray, as well as some silver printing in the center of the shield to give it more depth and detail. Again, I would have liked them to have included a 1x2 plate with clip on the front or the short end to give the option of how she holds the shield. The hair build on this side is pretty much the same as the side we just looked at, so let's move around to the front. This is my favorite BrickHead from the Justice League movie. All the prints are nicely done, and the inclusion of 2 accessories completes the look. Like other female BrickHeadz, the hair is well done, adding to a lot of character to the figure. It also fits really well with Wonder Woman from both of the movies she's been in. I also like the small details, like the print for the belt buckle and the gray tiles on her wrists to represent her traditional bracelets. The first thing I notice on this figure is the color scheme. The green and gold are a departure from the green and orange I am used to for Aquaman. That being said, this is a very accurate representation of the new look from the movie. Like Wonder Woman, there is a 1x2 tile printed with his logo used for his belt buckle. Right above the belt buckle is a 1x4 brick printed with gold scales representing his armor. I also like the beard build. It is just enough to represent the beard without being so big that it covers up the printed brick, as it has with some other BrickHeadz that I've reviewed. I'm not sure I really like the hair build in the front. It sort of makes it look like he has a receding hairline. Usually the hairline is flush with the face or sticks out just a little bit over the top of the forehead. In this case, the 2x4 tile used for his forehead sticks out beyond the hair, creating the effect of that receding hairline. Perhaps it's just me. Turning to the side, you see that he's holding a trident, which is a new mold and is used in a few sets featuring the Aquaman minifig. The size is good, mostly because the addition of the lightsaber hilt attached to the bottom of the trident piece. Interestingly, this exact same build and length is used with the minifigures in some of the other sets. So even though I think the scale looks really good here, it still should have been scaled up for the BrickHeadz size, which they rarely do with accessories. Another thing that's really nice that you see on this side is how the hair is done in two colors, using both reddish brown and a medium nougat. The exposed studs also add to the unkept look of his hair. The back of the figure has another printed 1x4 brick with his armor scales printed in gold. The use of several gold plates completes the look of the belt going all the way around the figure. Again, the hair is built with two colors and many exposed studs. The other side build is the same as the one we looked at before, with the exception of a trident, so we're going to move back around to the front. Overall, this is a very colorful figure and a great BrickHeadz build. I like the green and gold color scheme, and the beard is just the right size. The hair build in the front still seems a bit awkward to me. The forehead is just a bit too prominent. It really looks like a receding hairline, and looking at the figure from an angle makes it even more evident to me. Still, a very good BrickHeadz and worth adding to your collection. I'm very impressed with the design of this BrickHeadz. They did an excellent job capturing the human and machine combination. This figure has lots of texture elements that really highlight the machine nature of the character. There are two printed pieces that make up the decoration in the front of the figure. The use of silver and red printing on the tiles really stands out and looks great to me. As we move up the face, you can see that it's made of two different colored tiles. The medium nougat for his skin and the light gray for the metal or robotic parts. He also has a mechanical eye that is represented by a round trans red piece. The theme of man and machine continues with the use of some black plates representing the hair that he still has. On the side, some dark bluish gray pieces are used to add some color to the figure. There is also an ingot piece above his hand for some additional texture. The ear is represented by a round tile instead of the usual 1x2 slope piece. The legs are made up of headlight pieces with 1x1 tiles attached to add texture. This is a commonly used technique for superheroes and Star Wars BrickHeadz. The back has quite a bit of detail with the use of several grill pieces and ingots. It reminds me of the detailing on the back of the Flash BrickHeadz. This makes the back of this BrickHeadz a bit more interesting than usual, with a lot more texture and a lot more pieces that kind of make it more creative. Most of the time, BrickHeadz are just pretty plain in the back, as they're pretty much designed to be seen from the front or from the side. On the other side, you can see the human elements in his hair and skin. He still has the round tile for the ear, though. Instead of a hand, there is a weapon on his side, which I believe is supposed to represent his sonic cannon. The cannon is built with headlight piece and a 1x1 brick with studs on the side. There is some detailing with ingot pieces and a trans blue piece in the front. The effect is quite good, although the ingots tend to shift a bit since they are only attached with a single stud. Overall, I like the look of this BrickHeadz. They did a really good job combining the human and machine elements together and making sure that they blend well. The sonic cannon looks great, and it can move up and down just a little bit since it's on a single stud here on the sides. So it does move up and down just a little bit. But as you can see, that moves these ingot pieces around a little bit. And although you would expect a robot to be fairly smooth, the use of light gray ingot pieces and the dark bluish gray grill pieces add a lot of texture to the character. If you're a fan of Justice League, this is a good BrickHeadz to add to your collection. These are the last two BrickHeadz that were created for the Justice League movie. We'll go ahead and get started with Tactical Batman. As you would expect, the color scheme is black and gray. There are 3 printed tiles that make up the front of his uniform. This includes his utility belt in black and gold. His abs are printed on a 1x2 tile that is gray in the background and has black, silver, and gold to add for the printing. And then his symbol on his chest is printed in black on a silver background. Moving up a bit, you see that his eyes are done with trans black pieces that represent goggles. As we move around to the side of the figure, you'll see, or you can actually see a little bit from the front here, how he has kind of a goggle design with a band going around his head. I find it interesting that there was no additional band built up in between the two trans gray pieces representing his eyes. So it's not a complete goggle look. It looks more like two separate eyepieces that go attached from either side, which may be the look they were going for. From this angle, you can also see some pearl gold pieces that are used to add some texture to the arms, which we'll look at in more detail as we move around the figure. Moving to the side, you can see the build for the goggle straps that I was just mentioning. These are done with 1x2 plate with bows and grill pieces. The ears are built with an Exonite shield piece and an end-ridged tile, which is this tile with 3 different angles on it that come up to a point on the top. The effect is really good and it looks very accurate for the ears of the cowl. This same build technique was used in Batgirl. The arms are decorated with pearl gold cheese wedges and 2 ingot pieces, which give the uniform a more armored look to me. Towards the back, you can see the beginnings of the cape build, which kind of makes the cape look like it comes around the body of the figure. And we'll show more detail as we move around to the back. Although the back looks flat and plain, the cape build is quite well done. There's just a little bit of separation from the bottom of his head or cowl and the top of the cape. Some 2x2 plate with bow pieces provide a rounded top to the cape that is finished off with a 2x4 tile on the base. Some additional texturing is added by using 2 1x2 plate with rail pieces on either side of the base of the cape. There are also some pieces on either side, making the cape a bit wider and making it look like it drapes around the back and the sides, which I pointed out when we were looking at the side of the figure. Overall, I think it's a really nice effect. The other side is exactly the same as the one we just looked at. There are no accessories with this BrickHead, so let's take a look at Superman. Superman also has some nice prints that make up his uniform. In this case, they are done with 1x2 bricks. I like the use of light blue printed on the darker blue, which is officially dark earth blue in LEGO language. The Superman logo is very prominent and works well with the figure. Moving up, there's some curved pieces used for the hair build, which does a good job simulating Superman's hairstyle in the movie. I put a picture in the upper right so you can see what I'm talking about. Moving to the side, the hair build continues with plates and tiles, keeping the good texture. His ear is done with a traditional 1x2 slope piece, and his hands are done in the tan, or officially brick yellow, just like the rest of his skin. Towards the back, you can also see the side build of the cape. The cape is done exactly the same way as the one for Batman. Just like Batman, the back of this figure is very smooth, with a slight separation between the hair and the top of the cape. However, having the cape in this dark red color really sets it off a lot more, and of course fits perfectly with the Superman traditional color scheme. Other than the color, the cape is built exactly the same way as it is for Batman. The other side is the same as the first one we looked at. So let's move back around to the front, and I'll give you my overall impressions of the set. With the figures back together, my overall impression is that the color schemes for both figures are dead-on accurate. These are really representative of the characters from the movies. And I like the use of the different colors on the prints, and they work really, really well with each figure. I like the gold details on Batman, from the gold printing on his belt to the gold cheese wedge pieces, and I think they add a lot of character. I also like how they did the ears on the cowl. Even though this isn't a new technique, I think it works great, and you might as well stick with something that works really well. The hair build for Superman is spot on. The use of the rounded plate and the cheese wedges capture the style perfectly. The cape build for both characters works really well and is used in many BrickHeadz. The 6 BrickHeadz represent the 6 heroes from the Justice League movie, and I think they did a good job with all of them. Overall, I think this is a great collection, and it represents all of the heroes from the Justice League movie. Each figure has its own good points, and a few have a couple detractors. The Flash has some great detailing in the lightning bolts on the side of his head and the nice texturing in the back, which I pointed out during the review. Wonder Woman is my absolute favorite one of the 6. The hair build is really well done, and the accessories, although a bit small, are perfect for the figure. This version of Batman has some great detailing with the gold accents and ingots that add texture. I'm not a huge fan of the goggles. They remind me more of Batman vs. Superman than the Justice League movie. Superman is nicely done with a dark blue and dark red color scheme. For me, the hair also stands out since I think it looks just like Henry Cavill's style in the movie. The new color scheme for Aquaman is spot on and the gold detail printing is fantastic. I also like the new trident piece he comes with. However, like I mentioned before, it really looks like he has a receding hairline to me. Just one of those things, I guess. Finally, Cyborg is a great balance of man and machine and well represented here in BrickHead form. The sonic cannon is a nice touch and a really good build. I hope you enjoyed this look at the Justice League BrickHeadz, and I hope you like my reviews. Happy building! I've included some links to my other videos and playlists. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button to see more. You can also click the bell to be alerted when a new video is posted.